Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Let's Chat Reality. I'm Michael,
And I'm Molly.
and we are here today, a very special bonus episode this week, to bring you a Big Brother 27 cast preview and draft. We have our 16 brand new house guests, maybe one surprise house guest, and we are going to pick our teams going into the season that starts tomorrow night, Thursday night. Can't wait for it. And to help us out with this draft, we have a very special guest here, our friend Jenna Quirk. Jenna, how are you?
Hi, guys. I'm super excited to be here drafting with you guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. We are so thrilled to have you. Molly and I met you through reality TV, through the Bryson Wen event. We met in person. We've been
Yes.
online friends before that. So this is the perfect way to bring you on here for Big Brother, a show that all three of us love, and we are so excited to talk about here. So Jenna, what is your history with Big Brother? We always like to get our guess reality TV origin stories. So, what was your history with Big Brother specifically, and any other show?
Yeah. So, my dad had a coworker. He worked for a very large company that was on, I believe it was Big Brother 10. He went out like
Mhm.
second place or something like that. Named Steven, I
Stephen
think.
Daigle, yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of my dad's coworkers at the time for his very large organization that they both worked at. And he didn't know him or anything, but just had heard of his coworker going on this show called Big Brother. They had seen, or my parents had seen, little bits and pieces of Big Brother and Survivor and things like that. But he started watching religiously like once his friend was there or his coworker was on, and he instantly got hooked. And I was still kind of pretty young at that point. I was still kind of in my watching other kids shows type of phase, but I was watching a lot of shows like Figure It Out and Nickelodeon Guts and stuff on Nickelodeon. So that was my very first entrance into reality TV, if you can even consider that, but for kids. And then my dad brought me in to watch Big Brother with him the next season. And so I started kind of watching during season 11. But the big one was season 14 for me. I watched bits and pieces, but 14 was really once I started watching religiously, became really interested, and then started talking about it online. When during 14 and 6 or 15 and 16, specifically 16, I always say is my origin because that's just the one that really got me in there. And I became obsessed with everyone in the cast, and then obviously went back and rewatched. And but 14 more so has like the biggest place in my heart because that was the OG season. But I've been watching ever since. More so um, before 18 or before 19. I kind of stopped 19, 20, 21. 22, I was in college during those seasons, so I was kind of distracted, but still watched as a casual, but got plugged back into the online community during 23 and during the off seasons and things like that, and have been very, very plugged in since then. It's been my it was my first show that really like garnered my love of reality TV after American Idol and the singing shows that I watched as a kid. But yeah, that's really just kind of hit the ground running with season
Yeah.
16 and have been a fan ever since.
Oh, awesome. And I feel like that's around when like Twitter really began. Like I feel like Big Brother social
Yeah.
media really started to pick up around that time, so it kind of makes sense that like that's when, you would start and then get involved with the online community. Like I feel like that's when all of that really kind of began. So, your journey kind of aligned right with it.
Yeah, my journey with Big Brother definitely aligned with. the Twitter streets for sure.
It's a great, it's a messy, toxic place, BB Twitter, but we love it nonetheless. What would we do
especially if
without
you're
it?
especially if you're a fan of Zenki, for example. I was a huge Zenki fan, so needed somewhere to to connect with fellow fans.
Mm-hmm. Zanky to janky. There we go.
Exactly. I always say that that's where they got the inspiration for Janky.
It was the 10-year anniversary. I think that's very plausible. Well, let's get into some BB27 then. We'll kind of just like, here's what we know so far. Here's like, as of 7:14 p.m., July 9th, the day before the premiere, in 3 hours when this posts, there may be more. We may know more. Who knows? But
We
as of
got
right
lots
now,
of drops today.
yeah. But so we know the theme this season is a summer of mystery. That's what Julie has been teasing this as. So the house we have designed as a haunted hotel called Hotel, is it Mystere? Mystery? I don't know how they're pronouncing it exactly. Something like that. And there's hidden passageways allegedly in this house, which is very cool. I love that. I hope that they take advantage of that as there's a lot of potential there. But we have 75 key boxes, some filled with skeleton keys, they say, and there are some other clues allegedly with the keys as well. They posted just today a picture of the keys, saying that there's a clue here as to who the mystery house guest is. And we also know that the AI Arena is back, but this time known as the BB Blockbuster. So allegedly, seemingly same format that we know from BB26, but a new name clearly because there's no AI twist. And then, as I mentioned, there is a mystery house guest along with a masked visitor and secret accomplice. So, Molly, what are your thoughts on all of these twists that we have here? Are there any that stand out to you that you're really excited for? Any maybe that you're a little bit worried about potentially? What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. I feel like the hidden passageways will be really interesting if they can use those and find those. And then also with the BB Blockbuster, I know last season we were really excited to see the AI Arena and how that was going to be and how it actually worked. And it did work well. So I'm excited that they brought that back, but different name, so rebranded this time. But I think that will be fun and just makes it more exciting for those Thursday night episodes to know like you don't actually know who's going to go home yet, like because it could not be who you think it's going to be on the block. So I'm excited for that. And the mystery house guest, of course, I feel like that's just getting everyone talking, and we kind of I feel like have an understanding of who that's probably going to be, but maybe we're all wrong. So that's going to be exciting as well.
Yeah, Jenna, what are your thoughts?
I echo what Molly said. I am not disappointed that there's not kind of like a game bot stereotypical game bot player on the cast. I'm really hoping that we do see that from players like Morgan and Keanu and others that we can talk about during the draft. But I definitely think that some of these mysteries could have been really fun for players such as like Corey and Quinn, for example, big gay bots in the past. That's something I've been thinking about. But I love everything about the Hotel Mystere and the hidden passageways and kind of the clue theme. I really think that this is something that I've been wanting for them to kind of play into for a long time. So I'm glad that it's finally happening and excited to once again have the AI arena back and see what kind of new players and or visitors are brought in through these new twists.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited. I think that this theme has a lot of potential. I'm glad that they're kind of, allegedly having these hidden passageways, secret rooms. There's a safe in there, so there's a lot of potential that they can like really do a lot with this and extend it throughout the whole season. And Yeah, I think the AI Arena worked great. It added so much unpredictability to the Thursday night episodes because not only do you now have three nominees, but you have to think about all these different combinations of, okay, well, if this person's against this person, what are we going to do? If this person's against that one, and you might evict a different person every time. And then there's potential for people to not even remember what the plan was and who they had decided on going home in each scenario. And then, of course, like, there's also the part of, I think, where this is great is that in previous seasons we always see how like they're thinking like 3 weeks ahead, 4 weeks ahead. What are we gonna do? And I feel like the AI arena forces them to really stay in the present, and I think that's a really great thing as well. So I hope that it works well again. I think it has a lot of it. Hope as long as the competitions are equitable, then I think we're good to go. But yeah, no, I think that this house looks great. It really like they did a number with this one, and I like that it's not goofy. I feel like a lot of times
Yeah.
these houses can kind of feel very like cheesy, goofy, and I like that this one doesn't. It feels like a very classy house.
It's beautiful. The
Yeah.
pics dropped, and I'm like, wow, I'm in love. It's like it feels like a brand new house.
It does, especially the HOH room, which we really haven't seen yet. But they have Julie posted a little video that like the bathroom is a secret bookcase, which is really cool. It's a whole sliding door. I don't know. It's very cool. And there's lots of entrances to the HOH room apparently, which we don't know why that's a case, but excited to find out. Anyways, let's go into the draft. Let's start with our draft here. So here's how this is going to work. I have a wheel pulled up with all of our names, and whoever this wheel lands on will get to choose the draft. We'll get to choose where they want to be on the draft order, first, second, or third. Then I will spin it again, and whoever it lands on will then get their pick between the remaining two options for their slot. And then from there, we will do a snake draft, and we will do kind of in 3 rounds, if you will, so that each round, each one of us will go first, and then that way each one of us will have the opportunity to do twice in a row, except for the person who goes first overall. That person, because there's only 17 house guests, there's 17 options. That means one of our teams will be smaller than the rest. So whoever gets first in that advantage will also have the disadvantage of a slightly smaller team. Does everybody understand the rules? I'm my inner Julie Chen.
That was great explaining.
All right.
Yes.
Well, then, here we go. We're spinning the wheel. Big money, no whammies. Let's see. And it landed on Jenna. Jenna, where do you want to go
Fantastic.
in the draft? Would you like to go first, second, or third?
I'm gonna go second.
All right. Good choice. Good choice.
If
All
that's
right.
okay with y'all.
That is great. Now, Molly, let's spin the wheel. Okay, we were moving Jenna, and we are spinning one more time to see who gets the second pick. And it is Molly.
Okay, this might be controversial, but I'm gonna choose 3.
Ooh, I don't think that's very controversial,
Yeah, because I then
actually.
you have one less person now, Michael.
Exactly. That's okay. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
All right. Then I guess I have the first pick. Okay. I now need to scroll to the pictures because I don't remember anybody's name. Okay. Who do I want to pick first? Okay. I'm gonna go a little bit rogue here, potentially. Give me Mystery House Guest.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
That is rogue.
Give me
Very.
Miss Rachel Riley, potentially, maybe. Yeah, I'm going with this for a few reasons. Number one, I think it's Rachel Riley, and I can't go against her. I mean, I want
Exactly.
Rachel Riley on my team, you know? I'm going to be rooting for her anyway, so I might as well have her on my team to root for multiple reasons. Second, they tend to give advantages to returning house guests and big names. Think about Paul Abrahamian. They gave them 5 weeks of safety or something like that. And think about the coaches, and BB13, they have the pairs, and they, it's there's every time there's a returning house guest like that, pretty much they give them some sort of way that they are not going to be one of the first ones out. So I just have hope that they will do that again, even though I really, for fairness reasons, don't want that, but now I want it for my draft. So that's my reasons. But what do y'all think? Who is there anyone else who you think the mystery house guest might be? If it is Rachel, what do you think? Jenna, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I've been really intrigued by this mystery house guest. As we know from last season, a mystery house guest might not always end up being a real house guest, but at least it can be represented through merch like Michael is wearing. However,
CBS
I think
store.
that
Thank you,
I,
Molly. Molly got this for me for my birthday.
the plug. I do think this season will be different though, and I do think it's Rachel Riley based on the clues that we have seen. Lots of speculation. My Swifty brain has trained me for this, and I've gone and seen all the clues and gone along with what Twitter is saying and
Yeah.
agree that it is in fact Rachel Riley. And
So
if
let's
it
talk about what
is,
the clues are that we've
yeah,
seen so far. So we have, well, speaking of Taylor Swift, we have the 13.
yes,
That's Rachel's
yes.
winning season. We have her Amazing Race seasons on a map, 20,
Mm-hmm.
24, and 31, I think. And remind the car, the Nine of Hearts, ninth place in
Yes.
season 12, found Brendan, love, hearts. Was there anything else that I'm missing?
Yeah, the keys that dropped
Oh, yeah.
today, they the 75 keys on that big entrance board have been or four of those keys have been replaced by different numbers that add up to 40, which is Rachel's age. They also add up to 27, which is the current season, and 13, which is her winning season. So I believe I cannot place which numbers they are right now. I think they're 3, 7, 10, and 20
That sounds
that
right.
were
Yeah, yeah, that is right. That
revealed
is right.
on the key
Four of the best
board
seasons of Big
today.
Brother, by
So,
the way.
yeah, very true. But yeah,
Yeah,
I think Rachel is definitely a strong candidate, and if it's her, I'd be extremely thrilled. I've liked her more and more during every season, every single TV appearance that she's had. It'll be really interesting to see her play Big Brother without Brendan. Of course, we've seen her play The Amazing Race with her sister Alyssa and The Traitors without either of those two. But I've like loved her on every thing I've seen her on, and I think seeing a more mature, more elevated mom version of Rachel, specifically in the Big Brother house. Of course, we've seen her a little bit older on Amazing Race and The Traitors, and she just provided as much entertainment, if not more, as she did during her first two seasons. Albeit a little bit different. But if it's her, I'd be thrilled. The only other thing I could think of is maybe other big names from other shows. But at this point, with the clues we've received, I find it hard to believe anyone else is there.
yeah. Especially because also in an RHAP interview she did a few months ago, she specifically
Mm-hmm.
said, "You will see me on your TVs later this year. I'm doing another show." And then Rob asks, like, "What show haven't you done?" or something, and she's like, "Maybe it's a show I have done before." So she was really teasing this, but it's actually weird to me that she would even have that confirmed as early on as she said it. Like Big Brother is so last minute, and like I can't. That's crazy to me that they even like had been planning this for so long and had Rachel confirmed for so long. But it sounds like that's must be what she was referencing there. But Molly, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm excited to see her. I feel like anytime she's on our screen, she brings the drama and entertainment. So I'm excited to hopefully see her join the house.
All right. Well, then let's move on to our second draft pick. Jenna, you're up.
I am going to choose for my inaugural Let's Chat reality draft pick, Miss Ashley Hollis.
Good choice. Ashley Hollis. All right, so Ashley is 25, an attorney from New York City. Jenna, why did you pick Ashley?
I picked Ashley because she had great energy right off the bat, and she's been watching for many years. She mentioned a lot of players throughout different eras of the show when mentioning her favorite players. I think that she has a good mind for the game. She grew up doing pageants, kind of similar to Taylor Hale. And her answers during the interviews were just fantastic. She had great energy and really answered them well. Also, she's a theater kid. She grew up in the arts, and she also did track and went to Georgetown Law. Lots of exciting things on her resume, and I really think that she's gonna do well and hope that she's gonna do well. And I don't think she's afraid to use her voice. She does say she's gonna lie about her profession. Um, and also I might be worried about a potential showmance for her, but who knows? I know that Chelsea last season was open to being in a showmance and wanted to be in a showmance, maybe,
Yeah,
who know, allegedly, but so who knows? But I got just strong positive vibes from Ashley overall.
I think it's a good choice.
Yeah, I actually would have chosen her if I had that pick, but all good, Jenna. You can take her. Uh, because also, I was thinking, because I feel like the lawyers do well. I mean, Kyle just won Survivor.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a trend. Like, either you do really well or you get caught, and then that's not
Hmm.
good. But I
And
feel
she's
like
hiding the fact that she's a lawyer as
she'll hide
well.
it. Yeah. So I think she has like the skill sets with like her personality and everything like that that like she's gonna make it far.
We
Yeah.
saw Joseph Abden from 24, or and Michael from 24, both hiding the fact that they were lawyers and both doing pretty well and becoming fan faves. So,
Yeah, and we've seen on Survivor a lot too, like
yes.
Jake O'Kane and
Mm-hmm. Katura,
Katura. Yeah, yeah,
Julie.
Julie. Yeah, I feel like yeah they've been doing well recently. So no, I think she gave me very much Taylor Hale vibes in the first
Yeah.
interview. Like I really really liked her. I think that she's a fan of the show. She says she's been watching since she was a little girl. So I think that that's a great thing as well. I mean, even Taylor wasn't necessarily a fan for that long. She binged them all, but I think when you're watching for that amount of time and maybe I don't know how involved she is with the online community, but I always think that that stuff helps and is different than somebody who just binges a bunch of seasons right all in a row. I think you get a lot better sense of what the show is really like and when you're watching it in real time. So yeah, I think that Ashley is has a lot of potential to do really well here.
Yeah, she mentioned Kaser, Janelle, Tyler, and
Hmm.
Andy as her favorite players, and I think all of those players played great games that she said she was trying to emulate. So, yeah, we'll see if that
Yeah.
translates.
Good choice.
Yes. All right. Molly, you have two picks in a row here. What is your
Yeah.
first pick?
I am gonna choose Morgan as my first pick. I feel like she also has good energy and she's a gamer. She has obviously like played lots of games. She is pretty popular. I think she has like a following already from playing video games online. So I think whenever someone is a gamer, like they do really well in Big Brother as well, typically. So I feel like she could be a strong castmate here.
Yeah, I feel like from Morgan's interview, I didn't get a great sense of who she was. I don't know why, but to me, a lot of her answers felt very rehearsed. And this wasn't necessarily like not just Morgan. Like this I felt this way with a lot of Big Brother interviews, honestly. But I don't know why it stood out to me with her, where I was like, I don't feel like the person that I'm getting in this interview is necessarily the person that I'm going to get in the house when she's more herself, relaxed. Like, so I have a lot of good feeling about her that I think she'll, the fact that she's a gamer, I think is a great thing and for strategy. But I'm just curious to see kind of what she's going to be like in the house.
Yeah, I also like that she's a former athlete too, so then we know she could do pretty well in physical
Yeah.
challenges as a female. That's also a strong thing there for just, I mean, we saw Mackenzie last season doing really well. So I think we'll see how she does, but I'm excited to hopefully she goes far.
One thing that Morgan mentioned was that she wanted to use her gaming knowledge to figure out which angle she would take each day, each week. And I really like that because every day is different, but more so every week is different. And she kind of wanted to kind of play a character every single day, maybe be a little more flirty one day, be a little bit more strategic one day, be a little bit more vulnerable one day, and I really liked that. She said that she was an empath, but could also be manipulative, and I think that that is a good combination. Yeah, I really got good vibes. She was very high on my list as well, and I'm very excited to watch her play. So
Yeah,
great pick there, Molly.
thank you.
Yes.
And now I
Yes,
get to go again.
go again. Why not?
Okay,
So much fun the
so
first time.
this one might be a bit more of a wild card, but I feel like he has potential. So I'm gonna get Vince on my team.
Oh,
I feel
dang. He
like
was one of mine too.
uh, his energy just felt like very infectious, like through his interview. His was, I felt like, more of a natural feeling when he was talking, answering the question. So I feel like that just his personality was good. He also seems to be kind of like he would just go with the flow and adapt. Like he used this Wawa strategy, is what he says: wing, adapt. Which that caught my eye. I was like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna choose him if I get the chance.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see him, and the mustache is mustaching.
Yes, it is. I hope
Yeah.
he twirls it at some point.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, the DR is gonna have a heyday with that. Oh
Yes.
God.
He
Uh,
was very high on my list as well, I thought. Especially watching his interview for a second time. I loved him even more than I liked him the first time. I think that he had great energy, was kind of quirky, seemed really genuine. My favorite part about Vinny was he seemed to be a master of none, which is a self-proclaimed master of none, but pretty good at almost everything, which I think is really great. He will be able to adapt to different circumstances, and I'm really excited to see how he does.
yes, yes, yeah. No, I loved him. I think he's a feed watcher since BB18. So
Hmm.
anytime someone says they're a feed watcher, I immediately like them because I think that there's a difference between someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm a super fan. I've been watching for all these years, but then you find out that like they're like very, very casually watching. They don't really remember much about old seasons. Like you're getting things mixed up all the time, and like I feel like anytime someone says, "Oh yeah, no, I've been a feed watcher for all these years," I'm like, "Okay, you get this game. You are probably involved with the online community. You probably listen to Taryn. You like do all these things that really like to me make somebody who a player who really gets the game in a different way. And I like watching someone like that because I can see myself in them when I'm watching the feeds and watching them on TV. So I really like Vince. Great pick. I would have picked him next, probably.
He's
Sorry.
he's very level-headed, which I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. The only thing that he's not love about is that he's unemployed, but that's okay because he's not on Big Brother. So
Exactly.
Yeah, he may be able to go a long time without a job now with just with get paid posts and TV appearances. It can take you a long way.
He is representing for the community for sure.
Yes, exactly. All right. Well, Jenna, you are up next.
I am very excited to be taking my number two here, and Jimmy as my next pick.
Jimmy. That
He
also would
is
have been my
a
next pick.
yeah, Jenna's choosing all the good ones too.
I'm sorry.
I got
what
Rachel
can I
Riley
say?
though, so
Yeah,
I don't need
exactly.
I can taste
I like
her on
Jimmy
my
though.
team. I don't need anyone else.
He had the
Rachel and
best,
Brendan.
yes. He had the best energy. I was a really big fan of him as soon as I saw his even his picture. I like his shirt. I thought he was, yeah, like I said, great interview or great energy right off the bat. I He might be a DR screamer, which I'm not personally affected by, and I know a lot of people hate them, but I think he's really self-aware and he has that strategy background, which I think can take him really far. He mentioned his being a triplet, which is very fun. He grew up with two other siblings, always kind of fighting for attention, but also fitting in with them, and shows he cares about his family a lot too. But he is going to lie about his job. He doesn't want anyone else to know that he's a strategy consultant. So he's going to tell everyone that he's a tennis coach from Florida. But I really liked kind of his thought process towards the game. He said he wants to be part of a bigger alliance, but find some threesomes and duos within the game or within the bigger alliance and outside of it as well, so he can kind of set himself up for multiple angles. He said he wanted a ride or die and a good div, which is short for diva. Really loved that little
Oh,
tidbit there.
I don't even remember him saying that.
It was pretty short, but I caught it because it really spoke to me. But I really love him. A lot of people on Twitter are saying he's going to be the evil gay, but those are my kind of people. So I knew I needed to have him on my team.
Maybe he can do what Thomas Kroedinger couldn't do on Survivor 48 and
Exactly,
give
redemption
us,
for the
yeah,
evil gay
yes. No, I
with
love
hard
Jimmy.
high.
Yeah. I love Jimmy. I think that he's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I feel like he's going to be someone that fits in really well with most people in this house, and I could absolutely see him being included in any big alliance that forms. And I think that he'll be somebody who is able to also really be close with people that aren't in that alliance as well and have good personal relationships with them, and won't be one of the first people who they want to pick off, from the other side of the house, or whatever. I feel like he'll be kind of the social butterfly in that way. And yeah, I have a lot of high hopes. I hope he does really well.
Yeah, I think he'll do great. So far, I feel like anyone who's in strategy usually like has that already that mindset of having to be on their feet or strategic thinking, and so I think he's gonna adapt and do well with everyone.
Yeah. All right. I guess it's my turn again. Feels like a long time since I've gone. Okay. I think I'm going to go with Keanu.
Hmm.
I think Keanu is a big fan of the show, first of all, which I think is always someone that I like to put on my team. And he said he wants to play like Enzo, which is interesting. Not the first person I would think of, but Enzo did make it to the final three twice, so maybe not a bad person to want to play like. And I think that he's a dungeon master. And I think that that is, to me, that's somebody who is able to feels comfortable in positions of power. And I don't think is somebody who would get like HOH itis or make really like terrible off the wall decisions without consulting with people. Like, I feel like he's going to be somebody who, if he is kind of like a leader of an alliance, I could absolutely see him in that position. And I can see him as somebody who's a good leader, somebody who includes everybody, who, doesn't just kind of dictate what to do, but he seems like somebody who's a very kind of calm presence. And I think that people will gravitate towards him. And I think that he's going to play a really good social game, but my only fear is that he's a very, physical presence, and I could see him just being targeted for that potentially. But I also don't know if he's like the first person. Like, I don't see him as just kind of like this obvious like immediate target for that reason. So if he can get a couple weeks in, get a good position in the game, then maybe that kind of fades into the background a bit. So yeah, he's my next pick.
Yeah, Keanu seems like he's gonna be strong, so I feel like that's good. And his knowledge of the game too, I feel like is always important. So I think he could make it far.
Yeah, I loved Keanu. That would have been another pick that I am sad to miss out on, but I think he seems really level headed and seems like he has a good mind for the game, and um is very will be really easily able to adapt. I kind of view him as kind of a little bit of a Matt Klotz in terms of temperament, in terms of being able, like, conversations and interactions with other people, kind of in how level headedness and kind of focus he can be. I'm not trying to compare him to anyone for any reason, but like I think I can see him being level headed as Matt was. Um, but I really thought that he obviously has the physical down. He's a personal trainer, along with his gaming, and I'm really hoping that he can bond with some people over that. That was something he mentioned, is he's not going to hide the fact that he's a big gamer, because he wants to become more relatable to people. And I feel like based on the cast, a good amount of them might be interested in long online gaming, specifically Morgan. We'll see if she reveals that side of herself to him. But I feel like he is just someone who will get along with a lot of different types of people. I can see him bonding with Will, well. I can see him bonding with Zach and Riley, but also the girls too. I feel like they'll view him as a teddy bear, so that's exciting.
Oh no, you compared him to Matt and now said he's going to align with O'Reilly. I don't know that that worked out so well the first time.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, in a post-Riley world, who knows? Uh, all right, who's up next? Molly, you are up next.
Oh, exciting. Okay,
No,
so
sorry, wait, Jenna, you're up next. I don't know why,
oh
because
yeah.
you were just
No, I
talking.
was like,
I
wait, I
thought that you
didn't
just
think I
made this
was
pick, but it
next.
was me that made this pick. Jenna, you're up. Sorry.
I'm gonna go with Lauren. I I know that she is pretty young, but she seems to be really nice and really kind, and I think that she'll get along with people really well, and people will see her as someone who they want to include. I can see her working with Catherine, and bonding with her well, and I also just kind of see her having relationships with every single person in the house. Like I've pictured that and kind of can see that happening. She says that she wants to feel everyone out and adapt to their strategies, which I think is really smart. Her one downfall is that she's like a bad liar, so she says. So we'll see how much of an effect that has. But she's someone who really knows the game. She mentioned Dan's funeral, Keisha's birthday as some of her favorite moments, and says that she identifies with Nicole Franzel and Janelle and Donnie. And I
Nicole
think
Franzel and Janelle.
yeah, and Donnie.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, so maybe a little bit of no, maybe she is dreaming big, but I think I liked her. I got a lot of great energy from her, so I'm excited to see how she does. Excited to have her on my team.
Yeah, no, that's a good pick. I really liked Lauren too. I felt like she might have not come out of her shell totally in those interviews, so I feel like there's more for us to see of her. But I think just based on what we have seen, that she seems like she's gonna do well.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, I liked her too. She's a big fan of the show for a long time. She seems very like a social butterfly to me. Almost like in a way, I feel like I've maybe seen her online compared to like an Annalise, but I don't know that I really necessarily see that. I feel like just like looks wise, I guess I see it, but like I otherwise I feel like Lauren is going to be much more strategic. I don't see her as just being somebody who's just there for a 3 month long vacation, just kind of sitting around and not really doing anything. I think that she's going to be maybe more like an America Lopez.
I've seen her compared to Haley a lot from BB20.
Oh, I could see
Yeah, and
that.
that's something that I could really see. Even if she's dominant in competitions, maybe she could go down a Mackenzie track.
Yeah, I do
We'll
think she'll get
see.
into showmance. I am predicting that. I think that she'll get into showmance. But yeah, good choice. Good choice. Now, Molly, sorry about that. Now it's your turn.
All good. Well, if it was me, I would have chosen Lauren then. So you got a good one, another one, Jenna. But I'm gonna go with Kelly. So I felt like she was really sweet and just has like she's a little quirky, but like also can seem more normal at times too. And I liked her vibe overall. And I think that she'll build alliances. I think like just kind of coast through, maybe not make her own big moves, but like she'll get through, I think,
Mm.
a decent bit in the show at least.
Kelly to me is not a real person. I don't know where they found her. I don't know how she even like applied. How like she feels like somebody to me has like no social media in the middle of nowhere, like no cell service. Like I don't understand how they even found this person, but I'm very interested to watch her.
I know that's what makes me interested to see how far she could go because she doesn't have any knowledge of it. So I feel like because of that, that might be an advantage for her.
Yeah, I kind of, when I was first watching her interview, I'm like, okay, maybe she was a recruit, but also like the casting producers must have gone through the pits, gone through the census of her small South Dakota town to find her.
Yeah. Like, did
But
they
I
just
think
drive
she
through her town and like stop at a rest stop and we're like, oh hey,
they
you seem
they threw a
interesting.
dart they threw a dart at the map and
Yeah.
drove to her small town and went to her web designer business, one of her many apparently.
Oh, she is a web designer. Okay, so she must be online somewhat, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah, okay. That makes a little more sense, yeah.
She does talk about her farm kid grit, which I think could be very beneficial to her, and perseverance. I do see her as likely either being a perpetual pawn, maybe a pre-jury, maybe an early jury, or she could pull a Victoria Raffaelli and go to the end.
Queen.
Queen.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think I see her pre-jury most likely. I just think she reminds me of Bronte a lot from BB-18. Just like
Mm-hmm.
too overly sweet, where it's like, oh, you're not cut out for this game. Like, I don't think
Yeah.
she has that like the last year in her to like really make those moves, and it feels like she's there to just kind of make friends. I think that she's just kind of not. I don't even think she's in it like for the fame or anything like that. I think she's honestly just in it to like have a community of people and like make 17, 16 new friends. And I don't know. I like her. I think she's gonna be really likable. I just see her as kind of like a fourth or fifth boot.
That's kind
We'll
of the
see.
vibes that I got too. But I think that if she connects with people well, I think she is someone that could be
Hmm.
included in a bigger alliance.
Yeah.
Maybe she's an extra number that the big alliance picks up, or they want to add a few girls. Why not Kelly? But she says that she has done a lot of traveling and is really, really good at sharing spaces with people. But she also says she plans on hiding the fact that she's traveled a lot, which I think is, if she's really passionate about that, that's kind of concerning to me. That she won't be able to share that she's really passionate about. But hopefully, she's able to find a way to kind of downplay both her businesses and her traveling, because I want her to be able to talk about what she's passionate about, especially if she is trying to make friends, which it kind of seems like she is. But overall, I'm really excited to see how she functions within the larger group.
Yeah, for sure. All right, it is my turn again. I think I'm gonna go with Catherine. I really like Catherine. I get Leah vibes from her a bit. I think that she seems very smart. I think that she feels like somebody to me who makes it kind of like to mid jury,
Mm-hmm.
and is a good player. Maybe wins like one HOH randomly, maybe a couple vetoes, and is not necessarily like super in with the big alliance, but is well enough insulated that she's not one of the first ones that they want to pick off. I think that she seems like somebody who is a decent strategist, and she says that she doesn't think there have been very many young people on the show with as much depth as her, which we'll see. But I
Mhm.
think that she feels very likable and very just like kind of social enough that I think she'll form the relationships she needs to make it pretty far.
Yeah, I like Catherine too. I felt like she seems nice. I didn't get like a ton of her, I feel like, from that
Yeah.
interview, so I feel like there's still more to her, but she could make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked her. She talked about her PR degree and wanting to, or being able to twist something into a positive story. So that's something I could see her leaning into. She said that my favorite quote from her was that she was really good at hiding when she doesn't like people, and still kind of bustling them to get money out of them at the end of her waitress shift. But the Big Brother house is for a much larger amount of money. Hopefully, she's still able to do that, but we'll see.
Yes, we will. All right. Well, this would normally be my second turn in a row, but because I was first pick, we are skipping this turn for me, and we are going to Molly.
Okay, I'm gonna choose Ava. She's an aura painter, and so I feel like because of that, she's gonna be able to read people really well and understand like maybe someone's lying to her or not or that kind of stuff. I feel like she'll be able to read, but she's not going to tell people that she's an aura painter, so that might not be great because I don't know what she's going to talk about. And I mean, I know she'll have plenty to talk about. She seems like she has a great personality, but I'm worried that people might catch on to her lying on that. But I think that she seems fun, and I was like someone who's like artsy, and she's definitely that kind of vibe. So I think she could make it pretty far.
Yeah, she is worried that people will think she's a witch, which I love. I hope that that's a theory in the house. I want that to
Yeah.
go around. Like, do you think that Ava's a witch? Like, I hope that that's like, how remember in like BB16, everyone thought like all these conspiracies about Donnie. Like, I hope that they have this conspiracy about Ava, just like that she's a witch. I think that was a storyline on Bachelor in Paradise one season, if I'm not mistaken, with I'm forgetting her name, but there was like some theory that someone was like doing black magic or something, and that was like a whole storyline in season 6, I want to say.
I'm forgetting
Anyways,
that.
sorry, I'm
Yeah,
totally
kind of
off
ringing a
tangent.
bell, but
Yeah,
I
go
really
ahead.
liked Ava. I thought she was really real and definitely kind of is there for the money, which she made very clear. Which I think is it's refreshing to have someone that genuine and upfront about really being there for the money. She said that she might be more of a villain because I don't think she'll take people's BS, which I love. And I think like having that ability to kind of read people is will suit her well. Although like it might be the aura that people are putting on and not their real aura. I know that in Big Brother a lot of times people put on characters or versions of themselves. So hopefully she'll be able to see the real aura of people. But I thought she had great energy off the bat, an interesting style. She'll have fun fits in the house. Hopefully, she brings a lot more hats. She got brought into the community through her little brother Nolan. So I think that's a fun tidbit. And she said she's a big fan of Taylor Hale and identifies the most with Rockstar, which I can really see. But I'm really excited to watch her. I think she'll bring a lot of fun.
Yes,
Yes.
agreed.
All right. Well, aura points for Molly for that pick. Jenna, you are up.
Perfect. I'm gonna go a little bit rogue as well. I'm gonna pick Will, or Clifton Williams.
Captain
I
Will, if you will.
Captain Will. I loved his energy. I came into this season saying that I wanted a grandpa on the cast, and although he's 50, he does have 9 grandchildren, which I'm struggling to do the math a little bit.
9 grandchildren at
Yes,
50?
5 kids and 9 grandchildren. I
Oh
know.
my God.
Me too. I had to double check. But I think he has like a good kind of baseline of who he wants to work with. He says he wants 2 males and 2 females on his team. Wants to make his own little basketball team. My favorite quote from him was that he wanted to play these young kids like a puppet master, and I really hope he's able to do that. I We saw it, and I kind of am comparing him to a Donnie or a Cliff Hog. I'm really hoping that he's able to kind of go that route. It seems like he has a really level head, and he has like just a lot of great energy and wants to bring joy and love to the game. He seems like he's a Survivor fan. He mentioned immunity and getting up off the couch. He is a veteran of 22 years, but he doesn't want to inform everyone that he's a veteran. Everyone has to lie about something, I suppose. But I don't know. I liked the energy that he brings, and I think he can obviously talk if he's a podcaster, and it seems like he's doing a lot of sports analysis. And we see people like Sam Phelan and Gabe Ortiz from Survivor that are sports podcasters that had a great mind for the game. Of course, that was in Survivor, but I really do think that those skills could translate well for Will here. And I don't know, some people seem a little bit lower on him, but I really like him a lot and am excited to have him on my team.
All
Yeah,
right.
I liked Will. I thought he was also fun and just I mean, I love college basketball, so he's a women's college basketball podcaster, which now I'm gonna go listen to his podcast because his voice is really great for podcasting. And that he's a vet also I think is gonna play to his strengths. So I'm excited to watch.
Yeah, no, I really liked Will. I just fear always with somebody who's quite a bit older than the rest of them that he's just not going to easily fit in. Like it's going to take him doing more of the work to get himself to fit in because just naturally and organically the others are probably just all going to have more in common with each other than they will with him. And so it's very easy for him to kind of just like, fall into the trap that many older house guests have in the past, where they just kind of end up just kind of either they get out early or they just kind of end up being there and not really, maybe they get included on some votes when they need a number, but they don't really ever. They're not the ones in the driver's seat, and they don't end up getting into that inner circle, and so they end up just being very easy to pick off. So I hope he doesn't fall into that trap. It's always fun when they don't. So I hope he doesn't, and I hope he does well.
I also had those concerns, but I also saw the energy, and he said he doesn't care about the fact that he's the oldest and wants to make those bonds anyways. And I can really see him doing that based on the 4 or 5 minute clip that we saw from him. That's the same goes for all of this. It's kind of crazy to make such all these judgments of the based off of the 5 minute clips we've seen, but from him I got a really good vibe, and I do think he's gonna try to put in the work to combat that, and I'm excited about him.
Yeah. Look, people were making judgments before we got those 5-minute clips, just based on the first commercial with the first five house guests.
The
People were
fan
already making
cams were
fan cams,
crazy.
and yeah. So, people have done more judgments with less than we are doing right now. And Molly, it is your turn once again.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to go with Mickey. I think that she seems really sweet and can get along with everyone. And she also is a recent fan. She loved the Cookout Alliance. So obviously they made it all the way to the end there. So I think she has at least good knowledge of more recent Big Brother seasons to help her. And even though she's a little bit older, not like by that much, most of the cast is in their 20s, 30s, so she's about that age. So I think she'll fit in that age bracket timing of it all. But I think overall, like she seems like she has really great energy, and I just want to keep watching her on my screen.
Hmm. Yeah, I think my only fear with Mickey is that I think that she reads a little bit older than she is, even. And I could see her not quite fitting in with a lot of the others that I think are read younger, even if they are maybe not even that far off in age. Um, but I really like her, and I think that she has a lot. She seems very smart. I think that she will be have a gamer's mind, and I hope that she gets into a good position early on because I fear that if she just kind of doesn't immediately get into a good position, I feel like just organically she might have a little bit of a harder time kind of making those connections with others. So I hope that she just kind of ends up in the right rooms at the right time in the beginning and she can get into that, those early groups that form. And then I think she's, off to, the races there. So I hope that that happens for her because I like her.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like her too. I like how she wants to dominate the men, always rooting for those types of players. But she says that she wants to be a neutral party, which does kind of cause some alarm to
Mm.
me. She doesn't really kind of seems like she wants to be pretty like laid back and not the driver of those decisions. So I feel like that could definitely come back to bite her. Maybe if she's not willing to make the decision, maybe she might become the decision. And hoping that that's not the case. But she says she wants to be everyone's friend. She says she's ready to kick butt. She's nervous, but she has a whirlwind of emotions. But she has a really fun energy. But again, I'm just kind of worried about her wanting to remain so neutral and kind of how that might affect her position within the game. But she's been a watcher since BB23 and a little bit before, but like an avid watcher since BB23. So I do hope that that knowledge can definitely help her here.
Yeah. All right. It is my turn. I am going to go with Zay. I think that Zay is friends, very good friends seemingly, with Sammy Leotti from Survivor 43. And I think that is going to be good for him because Sammy, I think, is a good person to hopefully bounce ideas off of, get advice from. He did very well on Survivor. So I hope that he is able to have, watched his friend Sammy on Survivor, see that gameplay, and, be able to talk to some people from the Survivor world potentially before going on Big Brother. And I think that he is the type of person who obviously he's going to be a pretty good physical player. So I think that he has a lot of potential to win challenges and get in power positions from that. And I could see him being somebody who is a target because of his physical strength potentially. That worries me a bit, of course, but I don't know that he's going to be like the first person that's targeted for that in this cast, and or at least not one of like standing out as like the only one. So yeah, he seems very likable. He seems more likable than I actually thought he would be. Because he was one of those people that we saw in the commercial, and I think you kind of like make assumptions when you see him, but then like when he actually starts talking, I'm like, oh, he seems very personable. He seems very likable. So I think that he has a lot of potential to go far.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think he seems to have a lot of good self awareness and seems very adaptable. I was personally surprised to hear that BYU had male cheerleaders, but that's a fun fact about that. And I agree. I think he came across as a lot more likable than maybe I initially had thought. But he wants to be a hero. He doesn't want to get into show bands, but we'll see. There are some cute girls in there, so we'll definitely see if anyone's able to turn his head. But I think that he'll do well. I think he'll kind of be brought into an alliance or maybe even form one. Hopefully, pull the plug on that because it seems like a lot of these players are kind of not wanting to be the one that starts the big alliance, but wanting to join them. So someone's got to do it. It might be Zay. We'll see.
Yeah. No, I think he has potential. I mean, he obviously is going to be a good going to win a competition. So that, as you said, Michael, like maybe because he's a threat, like he could be people could be going after him, but I think he won't be the first one.
Hmm.
So yeah, we'll have to see. And I think also anyone who's friends with someone else who's in the reality TV universe, that's also a plus.
Yes. All right, Jenna, you have two picks in a row now.
Wow. Okay. I am first gonna take Zach. He is a former professional baseball player. He is a marketing manager. Kind of, do have a I have a marketing background, so bonded with him a little bit over that. Um, he's a former pastor kid, which he plans on sharing initially to hopefully kind of gain the trust of some people. But he says that that kind of led to him having a sheltered life. And when he went into college, he got exposed to a whole new world. And he's had to be adaptable in various aspects of his life. And he's also like I mentioned, a former professional baseball player, which is definitely fun. It'll lead him to become an athlete, and I feel like he'll do well in the competitions. He had good energy. He wants to push out his trustworthiness. But he also said he was a fan of Tucker and kind of wants to play like him, which um, personally I liked Tucker, wasn't a huge Tucker fan, so we'll see how that translates. But I think my favorite part of Zach was that he wanted an unexpected final two, wanted an unexpected alliance, and I think that if he's able to make that happen, with someone like Ava or someone like Will or someone like Amy, I think he could, or someone like Kelly. I think he has a lot of different avenues of unexpected people he could align with, and hopefully he sticks to it. And he's the same age as a few other people in the cast, and I feel like he will be able to relate to a lot of people just based on the age range.
All right. Yeah, I like Zach. I didn't get like a strong opinion either way from him, I feel like. And I don't
I
know.
feel
I
like he's
think
kind of
I
boring.
Yeah, yeah. And I can't get out of my head that what Rob Sesternino said in his in the cast preview where he was like, if you asked AI to create a Big Brother house guest, it would be Zach. And I just can't get that out of my mind now. Like that's all I see when I see him is just like a chat GPT version of a Big Brother house guest. But and that's not his fault. It's not his fault. But I like it. I think that he has a lot of potential to just kind of go far and not really like somebody who are like, there's a Zach on this season, like 3 or 4 weeks in, or like, who the hell is that? So that's kind of where I see him going, but usually those people aren't out too early. So not a bad
Exactly.
pick.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like overall he could do okay, but also I think he might be like too seen as like that physical threat too that people might he might even be winning in the challenges, but just because he's a former pro player, they're gonna be like, oh, like he's just too strong.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see.
Right,
He might
Jenna,
blend into
your
the
last
background a
pick.
little bit. But yes, my last pick, I'm gonna go with Amy. I liked Amy. I think that she seems pretty level headed. My biggest fear with her is she is the pusher of the All Girls Alliance this season. There always is one. Of course, I'm a feminist. I would love for them there to be an All Girls Alliance. But who knows if that will be the downfall of of her. But she seemed, like I said, she seems really level headed, and had pretty mellow energy, which I feel like could either lead to her being like a trustworthy member of an alliance, or for people to just kind of forget about her. She kind of snakes by, snakes her way to the end, or she is someone that people can put up as a perpetual pawn. We'll see. I think that she really, she did have the mama bear vibe and seemed to be already be getting emotional when talking about her kids. So I definitely feel like that's something that will be a part of her story this season quite a lot. But I do think that she does have that drive because of her kids, and hopefully she'll be able to relate to Will, and she wants to be that mama bear for several of these kids. So hopefully she's able to do that. Hopefully she's someone that they're able to trust. But I like her overall. I like her. I like her style. Her blue shirt she was wearing is cute. But I'm hoping that she does well, and she identifies with Cat Dunn. So, and Cat's a really fun player. Fun person. So I'm hoping that she's able to embody a lot of those fun features and do really well. I'm hoping that she'll make a good run.
Yeah, I liked Amy. I thought that I agree with her being like very strong on a all girls alliance. That I was a little bit wary about that, but she kept saying how she's such a girl's girl and like just wants to be there for everyone also. So I think people will really like her, but I just don't know how her strategy is gonna rank up to everyone else. So that's gonna be interesting to watch. Like if she's able to backstab people. Like I don't know if she could do that. But maybe.
Never
Yeah,
know.
she just reminds me too much of like Joey from BB16. Like, this person who like I think the problem is I think these girls' alliances just have to happen organically. I don't think you can
Yeah.
go in saying like I am just going to align with every female in this house and whether they like it or not. Like I think you have to find, and I think you shouldn't try to include every girl in the house. First of all, I think you need to pick like three or four who you actually trust, and just kind of organically form that bond, and then be like, hey, wouldn't it be cool if we just kind of did this all together? And then you form it. And I think that's when they work. Like I think that's kind of what the Ball Smashers did on OTT, and that worked out great for them. And I think the Black Widow Brigade, I don't think any of them came into the season on Survivor or Micronesia thinking I'm going to form a girls alliance. I think it just kind of happened. And so
Yeah.
I think that's when it works out. And so I worry that Amy's going to try too hard to push it, and the girls aren't going to really be feeling it. And then it's just going to all explode and early on, and she'll be, one of the first couple boots. But I hope not.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. We have two people left.
And
We
now
have
you get the last
Adrian.
pick, essentially, because then I'm just left with the last person.
Oh, God. Riley and Adrian. Um, Maybe I'll just have a team of two fewer people than everyone else. Okay. I guess I'm gonna go with Adrian.
I knew that's who you're gonna choose.
Because Adrian, I think he's really playing up a character right now. And I don't know that that's really what he's gonna be like in the house. Because he's obviously a fan, obviously a big fan, the best fan, if you will.
Wow.
And
A bigger
I,
fan than all of us.
someone who's analyzed the game like no one ever has. He built a wall comp in his backyard. He slept on the floor, and made his own slop.
That's some
So he's
dedication.
imagine doing all that just to go home first. That can't happen, right?
Do you think he watched Survivor 44 and saw Carson and
Carson.
Carson's puzzles?
Yeah, I maybe he bought some what is it?
Carsonaut.
Carsonauts. Yeah. uh
That was my idea about Adrian, though, that he is kind of putting on a show for the DR.
yeah.
Obviously, that's been like a big like casting advice from a lot of these players is to really just kind of amp up yourself
Yeah.
in casting, and he's taking what he remember or kind of he still has the casting mindset, I'm pretty sure, like based on his interview. And I do think that there's no way he could just be like that for 3 months, right? Like if he is, then I'm gonna switch the feeds. But I think that like I it's good that he has confidence in himself.
Yeah.
I really hope he turns it down. Maybe he'll be kind of on the receiving end of a blindside or something like that, or maybe one of his closer allies might get blindsided, and maybe he'll have to pivot, adapt, adjust, wing it and adapt, as we've
I
heard.
was gonna say, yeah, wing adapt, wing adapt.
I really hope that if he does come in swinging, he gets humbled a little bit, is able to adapt, and kind of maybe we'll see his true self come out. He's kind of a wild card for me in terms of like what he'll actually be like outside of this 5 minute clip or 9 minute clip in his case.
Yeah, I know his went on for a while, and I was like,
It was the
it sounds
first
like
one.
I
yeah, he was the
know.
first one. And I felt like he was nervous in parts too. Like he was like trying to be this person that was like not nervous, and that made him more nervous, I think.
Mhm.
Because he kept on stuttering on words or like messing up what he was trying to say also. But I think he could do okay as long as like he does build alliances and doesn't act too cocky. Because right now it seems like he's pretty cocky.
Yeah.
Um, but we'll see. So that leaves me with Riley, or is it? Yeah,
Yes,
it's
Riley.
Yes.
Hmm.
Riley. He's a professional bull rider from Oklahoma, a small town, Oklahoma. He told us everything that's in that small town. Um, but
It has cheap convenience stores, a Sonic.
Sounds great.
I have seen professional bull
My dream
riding
date.
before. So I'm actually kind of glad I have Riley on my team now, because now I can say I have a bull rider on my team.
Look at
But
that.
I think he's definitely gonna have to make friends, like to make it far in this game. Like I don't think he's gonna do great in terms of his own kind of game. Like I think he could be dragged along as people like put him up as a pawn or whatever. Like I don't know his strategy level, but he does persevere, is what he says, because bull riding does take a lot out of you, and you have to like try to stay on. So he's gonna try to stay here, stay in the Big Brother house as long as he can. So I support that mindset.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, close enough. Welcome back, Frenchie, right?
Frenchie Jr., Frenchie and
Yeah.
Cameron's love child.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, speaking of children, we heard some stories about that.
Baby
His
mama
baby mama.
drama in the chat.
Yeah, get her on the pod, right?
Get her on the pod.
Yeah, wow. Some interesting things happening there. But no, yeah, I mean, I think that he could go one of two ways. Like, I think he could either crash out like Frenchie immediately, or he could. I mean, he says he wants to be a follower, so I mean, he could just kind of be like a Jason Dent, from BB19 and make it pretty far, as just kind of like a follower of someone, maybe a Rachel Riley minion. Who knows?
Who knows? I think
But
I could
yeah.
see him bonding with Zach. They're the same age.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, he seems to be like he wants to be cool, calm, and collected. And I got that from his interview. Didn't really like get a lot of personality in there. But we'll see. He seems really nice though. I remember my initial reaction to him was he seemed really nice and really positive, and that could be a good energy that he brings into the house. But his weaknesses are pretty women, so hopefully they're able to, or we'll see if they're able to team up against him and manipulate him. But I can see him being a follower of a Rachel, or joining the neutral party alliance with Mickey. um, I think he's one of the ones that wants to be
yeah.
part of the big alliance, but not doesn't want to make it. But we'll see how he does. He has, um, it seems like he has a good head on his shoulders, but he might need to be humbled a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have our teams. We have our clients, if you will.
Yay.
So okay, let's see if I can figure out who on each of our teams. So okay, so I have Rachel Riley, mystery house guest, Keanu, Catherine, Mickey, and Adrian. Jenna, you
Oh
have
no, you have
Ash,
Zay. I have Mickey.
Zay. Yes, sorry, I missed Zay. I was like, that doesn't feel like quite enough. Yes, Zay. Okay. Jenna, you have Ashley, Jimmy, Lauren, Will, Zach, and Amy. In Molly, you have Morgan, Vince, Kelly, Ava, Mickey, and Riley.
Yes.
So it's hard to kind of see, but do we feel like one of us has like a very strongest team in particular, or a weaker team that we think? What do we think of all of our teams? How do we each feel about our own teams?
I'm thrilled with my team. But I do think that they're pretty even across the board. I feel like
Yeah,
with this cast, there's kind of like an upper tier, maybe a middle tier, and maybe a bottom tier. I think,
yeah. There's a lower tier.
yeah, okay.
Those last two, I think.
You said it.
It's a small lower tier, which is good. That's a good sign for
Yeah.
this cast.
Yeah.
I think they're all pretty even though. I'm kind of glad with how everything played out. I feel like we all have strong contenders and people who could be sleeper picks. So
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree. I'm excited to see how we do this season.
I
And I'm
am
so
too.
excited for the premiere. I can't believe that it's already
Yeah,
tomorrow.
I know.
tomorrow, I'm
Okay,
excited
so
to see how they all interact with Rachel Riley.
I know. So before we go, though, I thought it would be fun for each of us to make one prediction about what we think is going to happen this season. Just one thing that you think is going to happen throughout this season. Jenna, do you have anything? Do you want to go first?
um, I think that I think that Adrian will get humbled by the girls' alliance that Amy tries to start. Put it on record.
I hope so. That's a good prediction. That would be
Yes.
great. Molly, do
Maybe
you have
is
one?
Amy in the girls' alliance? Who knows?
I think that Zach will get into a showmance.
Hmm. With anyone in particular, or just as
Um,
showmans?
I don't know who it's gonna be with yet. I have to see him meet the girls. But I would guess maybe Catherine or Lauren or Morgan.
Okay. I I think, and this is maybe more of a general prediction. I think that there's just going to be a lot of fights this season.
Hmm.
I think that we're going to see a lot of clashing personalities, and we saw that a bit last season, of course, with people like Angela and Tucker, but I think that this is going to continue in that trajectory. Like, I think a lot of them, I always think that seasons are responses to the immediate season prior in a lot of ways, with Big Brother in particular, whether that's production choices or casts or just kind of the way that they play the game. And I think that people saw last season, this is coming right off of BB26, that was a bit more of a tumultuous season than we had seen in the few prior. So I think that this will continue in that direction. And I think that people are, I don't think that we're going to see just one big alliance dominate the whole game. I think we're going to see a lot more, a more fluid season. And I think that usually lends itself to more hurt feelings and arguments and fights. And so I hope that, and especially if Rachel Riley is in the house, and especially if, that returning player always sets the tone for that season, I think. And if Rachel is the one who is kind of like setting that tone, it's going to be a tumultuous season.
That's true.
Well, we will find out soon enough in less than 24 hours. This begins.
Yes.
Really, it begins on Sunday though. So, but but still excited for it to kick off on Thursday, and we will be covering all season long, and I cannot wait for it. So thank you guys so much for listening. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us at Let's Chat Reality, and we will be back next week, in less than a week technically, because this is a bonus episode that is dropping later than our normal episode. So we will be back soon enough. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.